Albus Dumbledore on the Warlock's hairy heart. As we have already seen, Beedle's first two tales attracted criticism of their themes of generosity, tolerance, and love. The Warlock's hairy heart, however, does not appear to have been modified or much criticized in the hundreds of years since it was first written. The story, as I eventually read it in the original rooms, was almost exactly that which my mother had told me. That said, the Warlock's hairy heart is by far the most gruesome of Beedle's offerings, and many parents do not share it with their children until they think they are old enough not to suffer nightmares. According to her own diary, Beatrix Bloxham never recovered from overhearing this story being told by her aunt to her older cousins. Quite by accident, my little ear fell against the keyhole. I can only imagine that I must have been paralyzed with horror, for I inadvertently heard the whole of the disgusting story, not to mention ghastly details of the dreadfully unsavory affair of my Uncle Nobby, the local hag, and a sack of bouncing bulbs. The shock almost killed me. I was in bed for a week, and so deeply traumatized was I that I developed a habit of sleepwalking back to the same keyhole every night, until at last my dear Papa, with only my best interest at heart, put a sticking charm on my door at bedtime. Apparently, Beatrix could find no way to make the Warlock's hairy heart suitable for children's sensitive ears, as she never rewrote it for the Toadstool tales. Why then, the survival of this grisly tale? I would argue that the Warlock's hairy heart has survived intact through the centuries because it speaks to the dark depths in all of us. It addresses one of the greatest and least acknowledged temptations of magic, the quest for invulnerability. Of course, such a quest is nothing more or less than a foolish fantasy. No man or woman alive, magical or not, has ever escaped some form of injury, whether physical, mental, or emotional. To hurt is as human as to breathe. Nevertheless, we wizards seem particularly prone to the idea that we can bend the nature of existence to our will. Young Warlock in this story. The term warlock is a very old one, although it is sometimes used as interchangeable with wizard. It originally denoted one learned in dueling and all martial magic. It was also given as a title to wizards who had performed feats of bravery, rather as Muggles who were sometimes knighted for acts of valor. By calling the young wizard in the story a warlock, Beedle indicates that he has already been recognized as especially skillful as defensive magic. These days, wizards use warlock in one or two ways: to describe a wizard of unusually fierce appearance, or as a title denoting particular skill or achievements. Thus, Dumbledore himself was chief warlock of the Wizengamot, JKR. The young warlock in the story, for instance, decides that falling in love would adversely affect his comfort and security. He sees love as a humiliation, a weakness, a drain on a person's emotional and material resources. Of course, the centuries-old trade in love potions shows that our fictional wizard is hardly alone in seeking to control the unpredictable course of love. The search for a true love potion continues to this day, but no such elixir has yet been created, and leading potioneers doubt that it is possible. Hector Dagworth Granger, founder of the most extraordinary society of potioneers, explains, "Powerful infatuations can be induced by the skillful potioneer, but never yet has anyone managed to create the truly unbreakable, eternal, unconditional attachment that alone can be called love." The hero in this tale, however, is not even interested in a simulacrum of love that he can create or destroy at will. He wants to remain forever unaffected by what he regards as a kind of sickness, and therefore performs a piece of dark magic that would not be possible outside of a storybook. He locks away his own heart. The resemblance of this action to this creation of a Horcrux has been noted by many writers. Although Beedle's hero is not seeking to avoid death, he is dividing what was clearly not meant to be divided, body and heart rather than soul, and in doing so, he is falling foul The first of Adalbert Waffling's Fundamental Laws of Magic. Tamper with the deepest mysteries, the source of life, the essence of self, only is prepared for consequence of the most extreme and dangerous kind. And sure enough, in seeking to become superhuman, this foolhardy young man renders himself inhuman. The heart he has locked away slowly shrivels and grows hair, symbolizing his own descent to beasthood. He is finally reduced to a violent animal who takes what he wants by force, and he dies in a futile attempt to regain what is now forever beyond his reach, a human heart. Though somewhat dated, the expression of the hairy heart has passed into everyday wizarding language to describe a cold or unfeeling witch or wizard. My maiden aunt, Honoria, always alleged that she called off her engagement to a wizard in the improper use of magic office because she discovered in time that he had a hairy heart. It was rumored, however, that she actually discovered him in the act of fondling some horklumps, which she found deeply shocking. Horklumps are pink, bristly, mushroom-like creatures. It is very difficult to see why anyone would want to fondle them. For further information, see Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. More recently, the self-help book, The Hairy Heart, A Guide to Wizards Who Won't Commit, has top bestseller lists. Not to be confused with Hairy Snout, Human Heart, a heart-rending account of one man's struggle with lycanthropy.